Hello, people. We are back online and at it again. Shout out where you are from. I have to know where you're from, or my week doesn't go well without it. Got to know who my people are, okay? So that we can register. So I know which country to visit. I know which state to visit. This all matters, right? In the plan. So let's get it going. Where are you from? She said, "Hi, coach. What's going on, girl?" Los Angeles, LA. That's what I'm talking about. I got a lot of people in LA. I've never actually been to LA. Cali. What's up with all you Cali people? What time is it over there? It's probably like 12, right? It's like 12. It's a little early over there in Cali. People checking in from Cali. How y'all doing, baby? Let's get it on. You know what it's time for. Virginia. I'm in Virginia right now. I'm in Richmond. UK, that's what I'm talking about. Cape Town. I get a lot of people from Cape Town as well. South Africa, that's nice. That's nice. She says Sweden. Ooh, Sweden. I know that's romantic. That's what I heard. I heard Sweden is romantic. Is that true? Is that true about Sweden? Tell me, TikTok. She said, Philly. Philly is a nice town. Philly is the closest I'll get to New York without actually being in New York, especially the way that they've built it up now. It used to be a little different back in the day. When you coming to visit where? I don't remember your location. Help me out. You lived in Norfolk? Yeah, you lived up north. Norfolk is nice. Norfolk is nice. So yes, let's talk. Let's do it. Stockholm. It's not romantic. A bunch of feminized men. Oh man, it sounds like you're. That's what a lot of ladies tell me about the U.S. Stockholm. The thing I know about Stockholm, Sweden, is Stockholm syndrome, which is something a lot of people experience in the dating field. Is Stockholm syndrome when you feel empathy towards your captor, right? Towards the person that puts you in a situation that you don't want to be in. That's Stockholm syndrome, right? Nature is lovely. Our culture is becoming more and more Americans, though. I'm sorry about that. Um, yeah, being from America, I don't even want to claim it. I'm just playing. I'm just playing. Um, there's a lot of great Americans. So hopefully you're getting the good ones that are coming your way, and that there are a lot of wonderful, lovely Americans that are visiting that are treating your land with respect. That's what matters. But anyway, let's start with the questions. How much of what you teach is men truly being abusive, and how much of it is just being men? Well, I don't know what you mean because I don't assign behavior to a gender, right? I don't say, and maybe that's where my information may not work for you, right? I don't say this is just a man thing, this is just a woman thing, right? I think that behaviors in particular stretch across different genders, regardless of where it is, regardless of who it is, right? It's a behavior. And when you say it's abusive, the abuse is the result of the action, right? Regardless of whether I'm a man and I was raised as a man or raised this way, if what I'm doing isn't good for the person and I'm not taking time to consider, then that's not being a man. That's not a gender based behavior. That is just a behavior, right? And that's how I try to look at it. It's like, because when you start assigning behaviors to a gender, then you say that only this gender is capable of this behavior, which isn't the case. Behaviors are spread across. Sometimes women do stuff, sometimes men do stuff, right? We're all accountable. So now there are some cases where you might have heard more men do it. There might be some cases where you've heard more women do it. But regardless, it's still a behavior. So I would say being abusive is, there are certain categories where abusive behavior exists. And if that behavior is abusive, man or woman, then that needs to be taken into consideration. So the other person needs to listen and have a willingness to change regardless. why are so many men resistant to change? So I would say if you've experienced men that are resistant to change, it's because there's a lot of reasons. One could be immaturity, right? If a man is not mature, he will not be able to commit to change, because commitment to change requires you to look inward, develop a little bit more self-awareness, and to say that I'm not always right. So if he's not changing or not willing to change, it's because he doesn't see value in that, right? And then you have to find out what his value is. What does he value? Does he value being a changed man? Does he value that type of path? Or does he value just being the same way and getting what he wants? See, the reason why some men are resistant to change is because they're still getting what they want. That's another reason. If you're not leaving the relationship, if you're not drawing hard boundaries or pulling back your affections or starting to remove those benefits, then what is the incentive? See, some guys and women need an incentive to change, right? There has to be a good reason for this. Most people don't do certain things that's out of their comfort zone unless they absolutely have to. Like, for example, for some of us, that's working at our job, that's going to our 9 to 5, that's driving a car. Maybe if some of us didn't have to do those things, we wouldn't. But because we're looking for some type of benefit or something to get us where we need to go, there's a motivation there, right? And that's part of the self-awareness chart, is what's your motivation? When you could learn a person's motivation, you may be able to understand what that is. Some people have fear-based motivation, where they're not going to be motivated unless they are scared. That's why some people only respond to you driving fear tactics. I'm going to leave you, silent treatment, stuff like that. The problem with that is that fear-based tactics will eventually be called out and will be a bluff. So that's why you can't really use fear tactics to maintain a long-term relationship. That's more for short-term commitments, which I don't think most people want. Because that's a lot of investment to be short-term. And let's be honest, we hate having to go back out here and date again. What worst part is he goes around thinking he's perfect because his inner circle won't say anything, which in return keeps him in his toxic circle playing games. Well, you have to understand he chose that circle too. Right? See, some people like to have a circle that doesn't challenge them to be better. You are who you hang around. Birds of a feather flock together sometimes. So he chose that. He wants to not be called out. He wants a group of people that are going to leave him stagnated, right? He is comfortable with that, which means that's who he is. Because if he wasn't, he would choose different friends. He's not doing that. So let's look at more questions here. Man, y'all are blowing it up today. Come on, energy. Come on, y'all. How long for a man to get out of a 3 years relationship to love again and love someone else? So these questions always come up, right? How long does it take someone to get over a commitment? How long does it take them to move on? Everyone is different, y'all, right? Some people have found a way to get there before they got to the end. Some guys have found a way to get there way before it ended. Some people need to take a good 6 months to detox, right? So there's no universal measure, but the way you will know is how they are handling the breakup. Are they still keeping in touch with them? Do they still get sensitive when you bring up the topic? Are they still kind of shifty about if they want to spend time with you? Are they open to you? Are they vulnerable to you? Or are they shifty, right? The way to figure out if they are ready is by how they're dealing with the pain of the breakup. How are they managing that? Is there pain, right? Because I would say most of us develop detachment pain, right? Even though I may not have been in love with you all the way, if we break up and we had a commitment together, that can make me feel like, damn, like I really did lose that person. That person knew me. So don't underestimate a breakup because you'll be shocked, right? That's what some people go through in these relationships, and all of those memories start to come back. So what I would say is, if they're ready to accommodate your needs without being hung up or distracted by what's happened with the previous person, that's when they're ready. They have to be willing to make space for you. If a man was flirting with women online while in a relationship, but it never went in real life, is the relationship over? If he's flirting with a woman online, then I would challenge that. Why does he need to flirt with a woman online if he's in a relationship? That's like one step worse than hitting the like button, which we already know that's a problem. If he's liking random girls' pictures on Instagram that are not you, so now he's flirting with them, that's emotional cheating. Like, what are you doing? Or micro cheating, let's call it that. Yeah, very true, but men aren't men here, so dating is very, very hard. Bring out the masculine energy from women. But here's the thing, right? Don't date men that you feel like are making you feel masculine. That's what I would say. If you, at any point, this is for all ladies, if you ever date a man that makes you feel like you have to step into your masculine, you need to step away from the relationship if that's not what you want, right? Because at this point in time, there's a lot of men talking a different language. A lot of men are talking 50-50 now. And there's women that are okay with that. It's just a matter of figuring out what you align with, right? But what I can tell you, there's always exceptions. There's always a difference. I get that. The group enables him. His BFF who's married doesn't correct him either. I don't know if I'm even stepping into it or survival mode. Then you might need help, right? So what I would say is, if you don't know if you're stepping into your masculine or into survival mode, then I would get help as soon as possible with that, because otherwise you may be struggling with this for the next 10 to 15 years. And the last thing you want to do is end up in a marriage or a children with someone that, does that. So you can click the link in my bio, actually. I'm actually hosting exclusive. This is only for exclusive people only. We only got a few spots open. But tomorrow evening, I am hosting a video call for only people who apply, who get in. You have to get in. So you first apply and then you maybe get in. So you have to apply for the group. And then what I do is I have a private call, exclusive members only, and we deep dive outside of social media. Because social media, unfortunately, it blocks me up when I get too deep. So we're gonna have the people who really wanna know. If you really wanna know the deep down dirty truth that I can't say here, go ahead and apply. I dated 2.5 years ago, invited me on his yacht, then told me he was scared to hurt me back then and is distracted by me and emotionally attached. He confessed he has a dismissive attachment. So if he had confessed that, then why would you even, I guess, what is the goal here? If someone, okay, sounds good. Thank you, Sarah. Looking forward to seeing you there. If he said that, then what would be the motive to keep dating him, I guess? How can someone break a trauma bond? Now he wants to start dating again. Well, do you want to start dating that? Because if he said that he has a dismissive attachment style, then that means he's going through it. And the fact that he put you through so many hoops to begin with shows you he's got some healing to do. Do you want to support his healing? Because that, you don't know how long that could take. That could take years, months, and you can't hold him accountable because he's gonna say, I told you in the beginning. That's the downside to hearing about hangups in the beginning, is that you can't really hold them accountable. Because if they start acting in that hangup that they told you about, that's their insurance policy. I told you this. So how can someone break a trauma bond? You gotta work with someone. We gotta figure out why the trauma is there, what it means, and how are we gonna build the right tools to make sure that you get out of it. Because a trauma bond is when two people are bonding over trauma, right? And when you're doing that, you have to figure out how to break it yourself. You can't rely on the other person. In fact, the other person almost encourages the trauma bond, right? They enhance it. Let's see. What does it really mean? What does it really means to treat a woman right? Well, that depends on the woman, because I'd like to believe that a lot of women are different, right? Just because you're the same gender doesn't mean that you are the same type of person. So to treat a woman right is to learn her individual needs and wants and try to figure out if you can work with that, right? Because that's one of the whole points of dating is to figure out how I can accommodate your needs. When a man truly loves a woman, her needs become his priority. How do I scan for empathy in him in the beginning of dating? How do you scan for empathy? I don't think that it's something that you can overtly scan for. I think it will be something that comes up naturally in conversation, in moments. Eventually, you are going to run into a situation naturally that is going to give you the opportunity to see how he reacts. And what you want to do instead of scanning, because here's the thing, there's a difference between moving with caution and moving with skepticism, right? You don't want to be skeptical of people because that is self-sabotage or a form of self-sabotage. You're looking for the bad things so you can avoid it. Instead, you want to allow a person to move naturally, and then if you see something or hear something, just pay attention, and eventually they will reveal things. People are very revealing. Just give them space to be themselves. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. It wasn't as specific, but what I would say is allow him to show you. Spend time with him without looking at him through rose-colored glasses. Look at him as a friend. And then as he's talking and as he's moving, eventually it will be revealed to you. What's going on, Boombastic Gal? Boombastic Gal. You've been rocking with me for a minute. If a man, I already answered that. Why did they do that? I brought up that I don't like him liking other females' photos, but he still does it anyways, thinks I don't see it. Well, that's when you have to make a decision. Clearly, him liking other women's photos isn't a problem for him. So now the question is, if it's a problem for you, and how much of a problem is it? Is it bad enough where you'd want to leave? Because here's how it goes, ladies. You get things to request. I don't want you to do this. I don't want you to do that. It doesn't make me feel comfortable. It doesn't make me feel secure, right? Then if the man continues to do it, that's when you got to push it further, because that means it's not important to him that you need that, or he doesn't look at it the same way you do, which makes him prioritize it less. So then you have to ask yourself, what's your next move? Because if you notice that he's still doing it, he's still doing the thing that doesn't make you feel safe, and you continue, and if you notice that he's doing it and you requested him not to, at a certain point, you have to get to a point where you're going to say, can I deal with this in a relationship? Because the more you keep asking him to hang up this behavior that he's having, and the more that he's getting to do it, regardless of how you feel, at some point, he's not going to regard you anymore. He's just going to be like, she always complains. Then once you get there, it starts to add on to other things. It's like a domino effect. Once one thing, then the next thing, then the next thing. Then before you know it, he's got 10 things he's not regarding about you. So don't let a man play with your boundaries. Then I'm the one with the problem. I'm the insecure one, supposedly. What's wrong with that? I'm sorry, but when did the word insecure become like a word of shame? Like, I'm not perfect either, right? I have insecurities. We all have insecurities to an extent about particular things. When did that become like, oh my God, you're insecure, so you shouldn't even be in a relationship? Like, come on. That's a very human emotion, right? Sometimes I feel insecure about certain things. Don't get me wrong. I can be confident and say, hey, whatever happens, happens. But it doesn't mean that if you put yourself in a certain situation, it won't make me feel funny. I have standards, right? And those standards are to protect myself. insecurity can be in many variations. It could be the way that you're treating me, the way you talk to me, the way you approach certain environments and conversations. Why is insecurity a shame word? Like automatically, I'm supposed to stop having any natural human emotion because you called me insecure. This is why we got to stop with these label words, because all they do is make us feel shame, and then it causes us to suppress our real emotions. You should be able to be insecure about certain things. And I shouldn't weaponize that against you. I shouldn't say, hey, you're not allowed to have this trigger, right? I shouldn't say you got to be a robot. You got to be perfect and just be care with things. Because you should be able to withstand any and everything a person does to you. Exactly. That's what we do. That's what we do in a lot of relationships is we say, okay, well, you know what? The way I'm going to get this person to feel bad about having a feeling is I'm going to call you insecure. And then that's just going to invalidate you totally. Like, that is manipulation. You don't know if I'm insecure just because I act like it. How did you tie that word to it? You know what I mean? Maybe I'm just not comfortable with it. Maybe I have a boundary here. Maybe I don't like certain things, right? And maybe I am insecure. So can we work with that? But to use it as a shame tactic is weird. You know what I'm saying? We weaponize people's emotions against them. Just like we weaponize mental health. You're bipolar. What if you really are bipolar? It's not always something you can help. Like, when did we become so combative and start to use people's natural emotions and natural imperfections as a weapon? But that's what I mean. That's manipulation, because you're saying I'm not allowed to be bipolar. What if I actually am? What happened to genuine, and then, we say we have compassion and empathy. Where did empathy go there? If I genuinely have a mental health disorder, why is that all of a sudden I'm the bad guy now? Like, where did this come from? I'm just saying, I've heard it so much, I don't want to go on a rant about it, but you get it. I think we should make space for people to have imperfections, right? Because here's the thing. You don't want to match with someone's perfections. That's not what you want to do. For a long-term commitment, you don't want to always look for the best. And that's what I think we've trained ourselves to kind of do here. I go on a date, I give you the best of me. I'm showing you me at like a 10, at like a 15. But somehow I'm supposed to just not show you the bad stuff. Like, I want to know about the nitty gritty. I want to know about the bad stuff. I want to know about your fears and your insecurities and stuff like that. Not to use it against you, but to know what I'm dealing with so that I can decide, okay, this is dealable, this is workable, this is not. Like, it should be kind of more like a business in that way. It's commitment, right? So anyway, not to go down a rabbit hole, y'all. What would you do if someone you've been together for 6 years gives ultimatum, you either get mRNA vaccine or we are done? Oh man, the whole vaccine debate is out of control. Here's the thing. The vaccines are a tricky topic because there are people on one side that will swear by it, that it works. There's people on the other side that swear it doesn't matter. I've seen people get through COVID and through several things without ever taking a vaccine. I've seen people get sick and then take the vaccine and then somehow they're better. I don't know if it's universal. So what I would say is, if it's your body, right? If it's your body and it's your health, the last thing you want to do is take something just because someone else wants you to do it. You need to decide what's right for you. And if they don't feel comfortable with that, then you guys are not meant to be. And that's okay. Sometimes we're going to have to part ways on certain things. We're not meant to be. So I would say personally, if anyone tried to tell me to do something or they're going to break up with me, I would say just go ahead. You know what I mean? Like, don't use the threat of breaking up with me to force me to do something. Because then when does it end now? Now you know you have that power over me. Let's say, God forbid, it actually works. Now I got to live with that. Now you're just using it all the time. Spends a lot of time on his phone when I'm around. Don't receive attention and affection unless it comes down to the deed. And then when I'm not around, I don't really hear from him throughout the day. So then why are you with him? Why are you with him? Literally, you're being treated like someone who doesn't have much value in his world. My ex insisted and insisted to know who my past sexual partners were, and for the whole 2 years we were together, anytime I tried to set a boundary or withheld any affection, he would flip and tell me. Well, I can tell you this: if you have a partner that's obsessed with your sexual history, I can already tell you that's not gonna work. I can already tell you that's not gonna work because this person is toxic. Like, what does it matter? You know, I'm gonna just be honest. Like, that to me, what matters, if you're gonna, because here's the thing, of course he's gonna use it against you. To be honest, I'm shocked that you stayed with him for 2 years after a red flag like that was revealed. Like, that's a pretty big deal. For someone to ask you about your sexual history and then make a big deal about it, I wouldn't have stayed with them longer than a week. Because if that's not something that you want to reveal, if that's something that's between you and God, then that's how it has to be. And if they can't handle it, but here's what I'm going to tell you. The fact that he kept holding it against you, even though you didn't even tell him, I can promise you, if you would have told him, oh my God, he would have had a field day with that. He would have used every single piece of information against you. Some guys do that. Like, they literally want to hear about your past just so they can hold it against you. Thank you for the rose, miss. Thank you. But they try to learn that about you to use it as a shame tactic. Remember how I said we shame each other for things? Why are men insulting women when they don't want to have children, when men don't want them? That's okay. Well, that's a double standard, right? Men apply double standards to women, even though men don't like double standards, but that's a double standard. A woman does not have to have children in order to have the life that she wants, right? If your life is not children, that is your decision. But at the same time, I've seen men on the internet say this: if a woman doesn't have children, she won't be happy. She'll be miserable. She have an empty and miserable life. Like, to me, it almost seems like they're trying to say a woman's happiness somehow has to tie a man in to some extent. Like, why? Because then it's going to be the next thing, right? It's never enough. First, it's you got to have a child. Then it's you got to have a man to raise the child. You see how they're always trying to tie you back in? Because some of these guys, from what I believe, I don't know for sure, I think that they feel validated by women continuously looking for men to supply their needs, right? If you do it on your own, or if you take your own road, they can't handle that. So instead, they project their own insecurities onto you. And that's when insecurities are toxic. When you start projecting them onto the other person, when that's not what they want. I would never tell someone what makes them happy. Like, that's up to you. How would I know? So I broke up with someone because I feel like he's not telling the truth, but he keeps telling me he hasn't done anything, but I feel like he's not reassuring me, but he wants us to be a couple still. Well, this is a complex situation because when you say, I feel like he's not telling the truth without evidence, that could be a tricky, because sometimes our feelings are misleading. Now, I do believe that women have intuition that men don't carry necessarily. So there may be some truth, I'm sure. You've seen it through habits and motions and, energy. But the point is, without much evidence, that's difficult, because the fact that you're commenting here shows me that you may not be all the way secure. So what I would say is maybe think about that a little more, right? Because think about the exact situations where he's lied. And maybe it's in the past. Maybe the lying happened in the past and now it's coming to the forefront, right? So if that's the case, what you'll want to do is look at those moments as evidence, and maybe you never gain back trust, right? How do you feel? But Xavier, hold on, I'm looking at TikTok. I am 26 and I got those insults. 26. Dude, I am not ready, but that's not a valid reason for men. But Xavier, I've already have a big family and friends. Why would I be alone, older, and not having kids? Well, here's the thing. If people are going to have their opinions, so the best you could do is just ignore those people, because at the end of the day, they're not helping you raise those kids and they don't know you or your world. So I wouldn't let that get to me. You're 26. You've got time, right? You've got life to figure out. So what I would do is not allow myself to be bothered by these people. Now, it's understandable that it does become somewhat bothersome because these are people telling you things you don't want to hear. But understand, who's telling you this? Are the people that are telling you this happy? Are they fulfilled? Do they have the life that they want? Because I can't tell you how many times a person who is not successful will criticize me. Like, I can't tell you how many times you don't have a good relationship. You haven't had successful marriages. You haven't had these things. And you haven't even helped anyone else get to those things. So why are you telling me how to live and you're miserable? Like what? It's like the pot calling the kettle black at this point. So you need to worry about your own life and leave me alone, because this is not, did you study this? Is this your job? Are you a certified relationship coach like Xavier? Then you don't know. You see how I did that little shameless plug there. How do you feel about a partner going through your phone without your permission, found a text thread from a year ago and is using it against me anytime we have a disagreement? Well, there's so many red flags to this statement. Number one, why is my partner, see, here's the thing. I personally, if you want to know personally, have an open phone policy for me. You can look through my phone. You have access to it. Now, with that being said, it is a concern if you're constantly looking through it for evidence, right? If you're looking for something to get on me, that is a red flag, because now you're setting me up, which means you just want to cause drama or something or have some leverage against me. And that's not healthy. So what I would say for that is, no, we're not going for that. Now, number two, it's from a year ago and they're using it against you now. That's double the unhealthy. If it happened a year ago and you talked through it and you got over it and it's done, no need to bring it up again. If it's still being brought up, then that is a bad sign, yo. That's two red flags. So, because those are separate flags. One is going through the phone and looking for stuff. Number two is using it in a disagreement, using the past in a disagreement now, or something I've done in the past in the disagreement now, is like the ultimate red flag. Because that means you just want to always have leverage in every conversation. You need to attack what's happening right now and not keep referring to what happened before. I don't know what to do. I really want to stop talking to him and he doesn't even say sorry. You know what to do. You just don't want to do it. I just have a connection. How do you stop that feeling? It does the feeling. Okay, so here's what I can tell y'all, right? With love, your feelings don't matter. I'm going to tell you this straight up. This is for everybody, for men, for women, whatever you identify as, your feelings do not matter. Because your feelings will lead you down a road of hell. You know how many times people had a feeling and they died? I'm just being real. You need to not follow your feelings for every decision you make. Feelings are a reaction, right? To the situation. Feelings change. They're so fickle. I'm not saying that they're not valid. They are valid to feel. But you need to put your feelings sometimes to the side and make a decision based on pure logic, right? And not, because if you rely too much on your feelings and not enough on logic, well, we all feel things throughout the day. Sometimes I feel like I want to go outside and just drive my car off the road. But you know what I mean? Like, think about how far you could take that. Feelings are not always your number one friend. You got to have balance. So what you got to do sometimes is say, what does logic say? And vice versa. Being too logical doesn't allow you to discern through feelings, because sometimes emotions are good because they give you compassion. They help you take that little extra step into understanding someone's position, right? Don't always go with logic either. You got to have a balance. So what I would say is, if your feelings are telling you one thing, but here's how to know that your feelings aren't telling you a good thing. Because sometimes your feelings are bad for you. Sometimes they're unhealthy. You want to know how to know when your feelings are bad for you? When you keep running into problems because of them. Like, how many more times are you going to run into a dead end because of your feelings? When do your feelings lead you somewhere good? To a wholesome and progressive situation. That's what you want to look for. If your feelings ain't doing that, then your feelings are bad. They're not good. You gotta shut them down. Because your feelings aren't perfect, right? Nothing's perfect. So we have to use other tools that we have. That's like saying, I'm only gonna rely on my sense of smell to navigate throughout my life. It smells so good though. It smells so great. Well, Xavier, if you touch this food and put it in your mouth, it has fentanyl, right? No, but it smells amazing. What am I doing? Rely on what I hear and what I see, right? So I'm not saying don't have feelings, but partner them with other tools, right? I have nothing to hide, but don't feel like he had the right to invade my privacy. No, especially if you never gave him permission. That's against the rules. You know what I mean? It worked in that when I'd be upset because he'd lie, cheat, or insult me, I'd end up comforting him now for throwing it in my past. Why did you comfort him? Do you give a dog a treat for pooping in the bed? Why would you comfort someone who treats you bad? Xavier, you are a big W, sir. Thank you so much. How do you feel about men who feel like they should be a priority over your children or family live-ins? Should they break up with you? Is that love or selfishness? It depends on your beliefs, right? Because basically there's certain scripture, I don't know if you're Christian, but in the Christian Bible, I know for a fact you prioritize God first, then your spouse, then everybody else, right? It's usually God first, spouse, then children, then everybody else. So that's not selfishness if you are looking towards scripture for your frame of reference. Now, outside of that, whatever construct you guys want to go with as individuals is a different story. So if you guys have developed a certain construct, then that's different, right? And then that could be selfish if you guys said this wasn't the agreement. But like I said, if you guys are, which a lot of people are, religious, then hey, that's a different story. Yep, he does tell me all the time, have to be careful with what I do or say, can be used against me. What traits do you think majority of men have that women will just have to accept that will most likely never change? Um, I don't think that anything outside of biology, right? I mean, I think that, every behavior is workable or changeable and comes in different forms. There's some men that are the complete opposite of others, right? And there's some men that are exactly the same. I think that there is no universal man. There isn't. What matters more is your discernment, your healing, and your path to finding a better version of yourself. Because what I can tell you is most of the men that you end up with are going to reflect a version of yourself. Now, that's not saying that's intentional, but they are inner mirrors. If you find a man and he just keeps disrespecting you and disrespecting you and disrespecting you and disrespecting you, eventually you're gonna have to ask yourself, why do I keep allowing this man to do this? Right? Why do I keep going with this? Why do I still have empathy towards him? Why do I still like him? Is it my childhood? Is it my childhood? Is it something that, I need to learn better? Is there some tools that I didn't get? Right? Because you may not even understand why you're dealing with this kind of person. So I would say there's too many different kinds of men to say that all men are that there's a commonality. Just like I believe the same about women. I don't believe all women are the same. I've had conversations with women one day that was a total opposite the next day, with different women. My partner constantly collapses into emotional hysterics whenever I discuss things that they do that affect me negatively. Cries like I said something vile or hit them. They avoid hard convo. So I would say this depends more on delivery. If your delivery is good, at least the way they need it delivered, because I would even ask them, when I talk about stuff that is concerning for me, how do you want me to deliver it? I would make sure to talk about that. But if they can't give you that, then that means that they're not good for a relationship, because I need to know communication. And if we don't have communication, then what are we doing? So what I would say is, if they burst into hysterics, they're trying to avoid accountability. They don't like confrontation. There may be something that they haven't matured on, or that they're not learning proper coping skills to deal with being wrong, which then I would ask, is there a way to improve that? I would attack that first. I would let them know. I would say, hey, I just want to let I love you and care about you. But sometimes when I try to talk about things that don't make me happy, I've noticed that you tend to kind of like, I feel pushed away. And when you push me away or you react like that, I still have to sit there with that feeling and it's not resolved. So I understand if it makes you uncomfortable, it makes me uncomfortable too. But how can we work towards a place where we can both have this conversation about my feelings and I can get my point across? How would you like me to relay that to you? Because otherwise, I don't know if I can be in a relationship where my feelings aren't being considered. That's what I would start to say. Hopefully that helps. Why do men in long relationships feel like after so many years they should be allowed to have a side piece to keep them excited? That's a certain kind of men. That's a certain kind of man, right? There are some men that feel like that. And I'm going to be honest, it's not because a certain amount of years have gone by. It's because that's how they genuinely think before they even got into the relationship. I can guarantee you these guys that say, oh yeah, I want to have a side piece. Or, man, I've been with you forever. I should be able to go out and get some. The guy had that mentality before he got in here. He just revealed it because you guys are years in. There was something always in him that was able to do that. Rarely do you just wake up one day and get that feeling, right? That was always in him. So they feel that way to keep them excited because, I don't know, there's so many reasons. Maybe that's what his friends said. Maybe where he grew up. Maybe he had a parental figure that told him that. Maybe he has think of corn. You know what I mean? Replace that with a P. Maybe because of that, he's been messed up in the head and he can't imagine staying with one woman. I would say, does he look at the computer a lot? My parents could just use each other's phone. No walls resistant ever. He keeps lying to me to get me to go over there. Then why do you still talk to him? Sending me every morning text with good morning, precious, sweetie, and it makes me so uncomfortable. I sent him a message telling him, well, you might have to block him. I'm going to give y'all straightforward answers here. What do you think about a man calling a woman complicated? It feels off to me. I think calling someone complicated is more of a reveal of yourself than the other person. Because if you think someone is complicated, then that means you have a hard time dealing with what they're going through. That is your own personal take. So If he calls his partner complicated, then that's just rude. Because, like, why are you dating them? That's so weird. Why would you want to date someone who's complicated? So I think that it's more of a reveal on yourself, than anything. Just say, I don't understand, right? What if he doesn't care if we are an item, but keeps telling me I will never find a partner if I keep hanging out with him, his actions? Huh? He tells me he doesn't care if we're an item, but he's don't know. Why do you hang out with someone that tells you that? Because I love them, I can't stop bawling. Well, just because you love him doesn't mean he should have the right to have access to you. There's some women that I thought I loved with all my heart. There's some women that I was gone over that you couldn't tell me I can't be in their lives. And what did I do? And this is not just because I'm a man. I had to walk because this person was not good for me. You got to take accountability for your actions. Just because you have feelings doesn't excuse the action. Because if we say that, then that means everything's up for grabs, right? I have a feeling today I can just crash into someone, right? So the thing is, feelings are okay to have, but you really need to be careful about the actions that you do because of your feelings, because then it's your responsibility. If you know this is a bad decision, but you say, my feelings say this, but I'm going to do the opposite, that's not good. Because then that means that you are excusing your behavior because of your feelings. Think about many settings where that could be a disaster. So it's okay to have feelings and it's okay to hurt. It's okay to feel it, but your choices are on you. I can't help it. So you're not taking accountability. See, that's what I mean. See, things like that, I can't help it because I love them. That's not accountability, right? And that's not going to help you in your journey. Growth is saying, I can help it, but I refuse to choose that. I can stop this. I can break up with this person. I can block them. I can walk away. But I'm not choosing that because of the way I feel. So I'm going to choose to indulge further in this feeling that I have. You see what I mean? You can help it. It's a decision. Can't get him out of my head. He keeps cheating. I mean, multiple girls. But you don't know what to do. Yeah, you do. So here's what I would say. If you want support for this kind of situation for you, Bianca, you're not in my group. You and I have spoken before, haven't we? That name is familiar. Bianca, I would say get help from me because I can help you through that. But you gotta work with me because these lives are not gonna give you much. These lives are not gonna give it to you. I would say go ahead and apply. I think you applied before, and I tried to work with you. You gotta work with me. These are fun, man. What time is it? We're just getting started. Say a man doesn't want a relationship, but tell everyone that we are together. By the way, if you apply right now, if you apply right now, you will be contacted today. Because we're going to make sure I have a live exclusive call tomorrow, and there's a 24/7 community working right now. So that's the thing. If you want help immediately, if you want to work through it immediately and start to get those answers now, go ahead, apply. Click the link in the bio. Do not hesitate. definitely applying. I feel like there's too much to put on here. Then let's go, girl. And also, if you apply now, right? If you apply today and you get in, right? I will also give you a personal phone call. I'm sweetening it up, right? You will get a personal call if you apply today. And you get in. You have to get in. If you get in, you will get a personal call from me and we will have a quick chat. So whatever you're going through, if you want some answers, go ahead and apply. Hit the link in the bio and do not hesitate because I'm ready to work. I'm ready to work. I'm knocking out clients. Let's do it. I feel like there's too much to put on here, probably saying. Say a man doesn't want a relationship, but tell everyone that we are together, but between me and him, we're not. But does everything to provide for you and etc. He's leaving room to do what he wants. When a man does everything but claim a relationship with you, he's leaving room. One day he's going to do something. Your time is coming. He's going to step out on you. He's going to get with another girl. He's going to talk to another girl. See, not saying that he wants something, not making that room is his insurance policy, right? Because no matter what I do for you, there's always that fine print, right, at the end that this isn't going to happen. I'm going to do something. So that's what it means. It means your clock is ticking before he does something. And the second you call him out on it, he's going to be like, but I told you we weren't together. And that is going to burn you up, girl. You better be careful. I want to leave my covert narc husband after 14 years, still having fears. Then you need to also apply. 14 years can't be solved on this live. But like I said, I've helped over 1,000. I'm up to over 1,500 people that I have worked with. 99% success. I get everybody where they need to be. That works with me, right? I'm hardcore, baby. So make sure you apply. Work with me. I've even had therapists come to me for help. So you're with the real deal now. But you got to be serious. I only take people who are serious, and my assistant will vet you out because I only work with people who want it. You got to really want the change because I will get you the results you're looking for, right? But you got to want it enough. If you don't want it bad enough, then don't come to me. If you want to stay in limbo, that's for another coach. How can I stop having those fears and leave him? You got to work with me. Hi, Xavier, listening from London. London! Exactly. They should try to understand it feels like a wall. Yeah, well, that's because they don't prioritize understanding, right? I'm sorry for you. I know it hurts, but why do you want to be around someone who is showing you how little he cares about you? Well, see, here's the thing. I don't think when women on here say, I can't stop wanting him and he's a bad guy, I can't stop wanting him and he cheats, I love him, I don't think that they want someone who's a cheater because clearly they're saying that it doesn't feel good, right? They don't want to be with the cheater. They're just dealing with it because they want the other things that the man comes with. And there might be other things that they don't want to have to deal with, like being single again, right? Maybe you don't want to be alone. You don't want to go back out into the dating field. Maybe you have insecurities about yourself, right? Maybe you're like, who else is going to love me? And who else is going to put up with me? There's so many other reasons why some of the women that I've spoken to have told me why they stick with these guys. So they don't want the pain. They want to mitigate the pain, but they just don't understand if it's possible or how they can do it. And what I've seen most women do is take the empathetic route and say, well, maybe if I love him harder, he's going to realize that he shouldn't treat me like this. Maybe if I treat him the way I want to be treated, eventually he's going to see it. Maybe if I put up with it just a little while longer, he's going to change. And then there's also the fear that comes in. Well, what if we break up and then he gets with the next girl and then he treats her the way that I want to be treated and I lose out on that, right? Can he change? Is it possible? I mean, anything is possible, but the likelihood is a different story, right? The likelihood. What is the likelihood? And the way you measure likelihood is by the actions. But like I said, Bianca, you're going to have to talk to me because I can tell you the likelihood. You want to know the likelihood of your man changing? Go ahead and apply and work with me. Go ahead. I will call you today. That's how ready I am. I will call you today. They don't know what love is, right? I don't know. He said he loved me. Does he really? I mean, if you have to ask, if you have to ask, I mean, maybe that's a first clue. Is if someone really loved you, should you have to ask if if they really do love you? So, I mean, it's like that's another thing is when people say you don't love yourself because of the way you're allowing yourself to be treated. I don't think that that means you don't love yourself. You see, people come up with these big generic labels whenever they see one action and they somehow apply that. It doesn't mean you don't love yourself because you're allowing someone to treat you a certain way, right? Maybe you do love yourself, but you just so happen to be in a bad situation. Just because I lost my job doesn't mean I don't love myself. Just because I'm putting up with this job because there's no other job openings, or maybe I can't find the job I want, doesn't mean that I don't love myself. There's certain things I'm trying to get here. I was in the same position. I left. I love him, but I'm not in love with him no more. He sounds so convincing though. Well, you got to talk to someone cuz I'll tell you how convincing he sounds. Yeah, you got to talk to me. Bianca, we're going to have a good old chat. We are going to have the best chat. Hold on to your socks though cuz I'm going to be honest. Listening for Israel, and I'm here to have fun, get educated, and spread love. Hello, Israel. I'm sure that you've been going through it lately, hearing about what your side of the world is going through, and what is happening. Yeah, I don't want to get political, but there's a lot going on with your side of the world. So I hope that you are safe, and I hope that you know things are going well for you personally. We got Israel in the house. Hey, Katrina. Katrina is in the building. More questions, y'all. We are just getting started. Let's see what time it is. I'm curious how my recent post did on TikTok. Hey, Kim. Believe me, it's so much better to be on your own than treated so poorly. Well, that's what I would say is I agree with you. However, I would also say that for some people, being alone is literally like visiting death. If you have abandonment wounds, if you have, you know, coping skills that don't align with that journey, that could be hard for some people. For some people, it's better, they feel better being with someone that treats them bad than being alone. If you have a mental disorder, like sometimes borderline personality disorder can fit into that category. Like being abandoned is the worst thing ever, and just having someone. So I would say being alone doesn't work for everybody. But I think even though it doesn't feel great, that's a time to challenge yourself. Become good with what you're not good at. Right? Um, because that's what we have to do all the time is try to become good at what we're not good at. By the way, I'm checking to see if you have applied to the group. Like I said, I'm doing phone calls today. If you want to call today, if you get into the group, I will give you a call today. I will reserve space for you. If not today, then early tomorrow. Make sure you apply. Go to my link in my bio and apply. But you have to do it today. Because once I schedule out today and tomorrow, that's it. So I would say for those of you that are looking, do it right now. I'm actually looking at the page now, so make sure you go ahead and do it. I like how you said it doesn't mean you don't love yourself. He just keeps saying, I would rather be friends first. And 3 years is nothing. But we are so much more. Why is it so hard to commit? It's not hard to commit. He just doesn't want to commit to you. Commitment is not a hard thing. It's literally a choice, right? It's an easy decision. Hey, I want to commit to you. So, but the problem is he just doesn't want to do it with you. Let me tell you how men work. When a man loves you, when a man really wants you and he sees you as a potential future, when he sees you as a potential future person, then what I can tell you is that how do I put this? He will let you know. He will waste no time to tell you that you're it. You did. Yeah, I just saw you. Got you in there. All right, Angie, we're going to talk today. I just saw you pop up on my screen. For anyone else who wants to pop up on my screen, go ahead and click the link in the bio. So that's the thing. Like, guys don't waste no time. So if a guy's friends with you for years and he's not committing to you, you're getting your time wasted real bad. You're getting your time wasted so bad. Like, awful. He is wasting all of your time. Like, he is ruining your life. Like, that is insane. The fact that he got past 3 months, because let me tell you, me and my friends, when we like someone, we know that in less than 3 months. We're asking the boys, like, how do I keep this girl? Like, how do I make it so that she wants me? How do I, where do I take her on a date? Like, we're trying so hard to, make sure that you're happy and that we're doing the right thing. Like, we are at it. So if your guy isn't like that about you, girl, you're getting your time all the way wasted. Because TikTok is like, hey, you got to verify yourself even though you're on the screen. Hard being alone, I can identify with abandonment issue, but working with that issue and also being emotionally abused every day is empowering. It takes time to heal, but it's worth it. Absolutely. And like I said, tomorrow I will be having a live exclusive group video live, right? For an exclusive group. That is also what you apply for. About healing and detaching from a narcissist. I've got a lot of requests from the private group. There's a lot of people in the private group right now. And they want to know how to heal and detach from a narcissist. So I will be going through that. If you want to get in on that, I got 3 or 4 more spots. Go ahead and apply. And not only do you get that, but you get a personal call from me. So make sure that you do that, okay? Apply. There we go, Bianca. Let's make sure, like I said, go ahead, click the link in the bio and apply, because tomorrow I am focused on telling everyone how, right, to detach and how to walk away from a narcissist or manipulator. So if you want to know the top ways to get that done and have space to ask me questions without the big live and all the hundreds of people, then join that group, right? And you also get a personal call. So make sure you click the link. Don't hesitate. I'm seeing, all right, Bianca, I saw your application. You are good. How to let go. You have to join the group. You have to join the group. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the heart. I appreciate you so much. Thank you for the gift. Who sent that? Brenda Robinson sent it. Right. It says became 44th member on the team. Thank you so much, Brenda Robinson. What do I say? Because if I walk away, then it's on me. It was my decision. Then I feel like I'm the one who lost someone good. Come to the session tomorrow. Go ahead and apply. I'll give you exactly what to say. This is what I specialize in. What is the cost of the group? You'll have to follow up with my assistant. Like she takes care of all of that. So I would just say apply and find out, right? But like I said, it also comes with a call with me. So whatever the call, like calls with me are probably way more, but you'll get a discount if that's the case. So I would just say apply. Doesn't hurt. Just find out. Be proud of yourself. You're making the first steps of working on yourself and putting yourself first. Yeah. Yeah, you are. Because think about everything I said here today. I go in way more detail. I even go into scientific detail. Tomorrow's going to be a big day, y'all. And then it's recorded. So if you're in the group, you can watch it after, even if you didn't make it. I have a whole video on there where I talk about how manipulative I was and all the thoughts I had and all the bad stuff I was doing. I literally go into that, but you have to be in a group. Let's do it, man. Let's get you through it. All right, more questions, y'all. We're not done. Just getting started. Hold on. Let me retype this thing here. Oh man, my click isn't. You can't find my bio? Can you send me a DM? Hold on, let me add you on TikTok. Brenda Robinson. (657). Hey, Brenda, go ahead and send me your email address. I just sent you a message. So send me your email address in the DMs and I will get it to you. Hi, X. Why does a guy suggest for a second date during the first date but never follow through? Immaturity. See, look, we got Katrina here. Katrina is actually in my group. So if you want firsthand who was in the group and what they feel about it, right here. Katrina says, join the group. It's a safe place. We have a lot of fun. We talk about everything. Some of us have friendships outside the group. Yeah, some people have made friendships in the group, right? And they're supportive because we're all supportive of each other, right? So yes, join it. Make sure. Let's have fun. Let's get a family together. We become family. We start to talk about who's where. We talk about events. We talk about what we're gonna do. It's good. So you got firsthand right here someone who's in it right now. See, and we got Kim. She's also in it. See, people are popping up because y'all know I go deep. Y'all know I go deep. Is this guy just stringing me along? I don't know because we could say, is it intentional? Who knows? Do you have an advice on how to face someone in court that have hurt you so bad and manipulated you for so many years? Because the worst part is reliving it again. Um, I'll need you to apply to. These are big questions. I'll have to find out what happened. So you know what? You should sign up and join the group just to get the call because I'll be able to. I've talked people through this situation. I'm actually talking someone through that situation right now. They're in court with their narcissistic ex-husband, and I've helped them shift their perspective so that they can do it better. So I've had a lot of practice with this situation. If you want to know the tools, go ahead and click the bio and apply to work with me. So yeah, just apply and then we'll get you there and we'll find a way to set you up with a phone call. People are applying, y'all. So if you haven't applied for a phone call yet, make sure to do it. Let's see what else y'all got. More questions. That was a big one. Because I have to figure out the reason why that's a big one is because I have to figure out what your relationship was like, what was the thing that broke you up, why, all those things. Yeah, it takes a little bit more. Let's go TikTok. Let's rev up the gears. What y'all got for me on TikTok today? Probably just testing to see if you were into him. You say yes. Probably just wanted the ego brush. Very immature. Yeah, see, you have to understand a lot of people are dating to for ego stroke. I'm single, enjoying my space, but I feel like I need more, not from self, but the right one, not just anyone. Okay. So, do you know how to locate that? Right? Like, do you know how to find that? Do you have the tools to, make sure you're going towards the right one? Do you know where that exists or how to figure that out? And I'm asking genuinely because, I want you to have that. And that's what I also specialize. I started off as a dating coach, mastered that. Then I was like relationships, mastered that. Then I was like marriage. That's about as high as it gets. Now I'm into divorce. Um, Sometimes he randomly gives me the cold shoulder and just ignores my presence. And then I'm left confused and in my head trying to figure out what I did. But I'm too afraid to ask him. Wow. Therapy. Nah, see, what's funny is I studied therapy, right? Like I studied the DSM and all that, took some classes. I don't like their approach all the way. I think that they're good, but are you licensed? I'm certified, right? I'm a certified coach. So yeah, you don't have to be a therapist to get that. Yeah, absolutely. I'm renegade, girl. No, I don't want that because once you become a legit therapist, then there's some policies that they have against you, and I can't be as revealing, right? There's certain things I can't talk about, certain things I can't say, and that's not gonna work. No, no, I gotta do the way that I've been doing it has worked so much that therapists have come to me. And I'm not saying that to brag. That's actually what happened. There's a review on my Instagram page of a wonderful person, a therapist that vouched for me. So yes, therapists come to me. Do narcissists ever change? Not internally. Not internally. See, here's the thing you have to understand, right? I I myself used to be a manipulator, right? I used to be one of the bad boys. And I got through it with therapy and counseling. There's still some parts of my brain that when I'm in certain relational situations, I feel like I want to react a certain way. So that doesn't go away. So if I change my behavior, I'm going against my natural instinct a little bit. Now I've learned to change a lot of my natural instincts through perspective, right? As I've gone through healing, but it's still there. So that's what I mean. When you say, can a person change? A person can change the way they behave, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're changing as a person. I'm going to do this behavior because it's better than this one. When I do this behavior, it gets me negative results. So I'm going to do this behavior, but I want to do this one. That's the way narcissists think. So even if they change their behaviors, they're still going to have that trigger in their mind that says, but you really want to do this one. So just realize what you're asking for. If they don't want you, why do they keep trying to hoover you back? Because they want you in a way that they want you, right? And that doesn't make sense. If that's, when you get someone's food and then they say, like when you're not hungry and someone says, I'm getting food, right? And the reality is you don't want to eat all of that food. You don't want them to buy you a whole meal. So instead, what you do is you compromise and you say, well, I don't want food. And then they bring the food and you just eat a bite of theirs. That's what it is. I don't want the whole meal. I just want a piece of it. So that's why they hoover you back. They want to know that they have the option for the meal, but they don't want to commit to the whole thing. So they want to bring you over just so that they can get a piece. They want a piece of you. And that piece of you could be any variable. It could be sleeping with you. It could be time, affection, a place to vent. It's use. It's use. So that's what I mean. Because some guys, manipulative guys, narcissistic guys, will try to bring you back into relationships that you don't want, right? And they'll make it sound like they're so in love with you. They want to make it work. They see a future with you. They'll say all this hurrah just to bring you back into a situation because it's for their benefit. Even when they are with someone else, absolutely. That's just the new supply. We gotta hoover back to the old supply. It sounds like it's harder for you to understand and accept than, because the reality is that's the way narcissists have always been. They're the hoover, people, right? They always gotta have a back pocket. They always gotta have something else brewing. They gotta make sure so that just in case this new person figures out who they are, and this new person starts to, challenge them or make them feel like, oh man, I got to step up. They want to know, right? They want to know that they got you. They don't care about the old and new supply. It's just what they need at the time: money, shelter. Yeah, exactly. It's a very hunter gatherer mindset. For those of you who are coming in, if you are new and it is your first time working with me, you qualify for a first time call with me personally if you apply for the exclusive group. And that's when we will talk tomorrow live as a group. How to detach from a narcissist or manipulator. That is coming up tomorrow. So make sure if you want to get in, you apply now. Go to the link in the bio. If you don't know where the link in the bio is, send me a DM. I'm looking at my stuff now to see if your names are coming up. I got to jump off here soon because people are applying, so I want to make sure I get to them. They're so egotistical, they can't accept you don't want them. So they come back, feed you a bit of BS, pull you back in. Yep, exactly. You did? Brenda, you were good. I got you locked in. I'm currently working. Okay. Well, you booked the time, right? You got a time? You get off at 4:30. Oh, you're on Central Time? You're on Central. 4:30. Yeah, because it's past 4:30 on my clock. Yeah, you're Central. That's cool. You're on Eastern Time? I'm on Eastern Time. I'm on Eastern. Didn't see a time option though. Do you call overseas? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. If you get into the group, I call overseas. Yep. You got WhatsApp, right? WhatsApp. We can do WhatsApp or we can call through Instagram. So anytime is good for me. Okay, good. You will be hearing from me. Well, first you're going to hear from my assistant and then you'll hear from me. But yes, I do call overseas. So even if you're in different countries, I work with people in different countries all the time. We international. Yeah. Apply, apply, apply. Don't hesitate. So, like I said, I'm going to make this announcement again. If you want to work with me, if you want a call with me one on one today, earliest tomorrow, and you want to get into the live session where we talk about how to remove and detach yourself from a narcissist or manipulator, if you want to get all of that, go to the link in my bio and apply on the application form for the exclusive group or send me a DM that you want to join. And you will get a call from me. And I'll talk about any situation you need, girl. Oh boy. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go ahead and jump off. I love you guys. I appreciate you ladies. You are all amazing. What are your fees? I don't have fees. Just go ahead and apply. And my assistant will walk you through all of that. So just gonna make this available. So yeah, just go ahead and apply. few years that I realized was narcissism. I'm happy. Okay. Absolutely. So go ahead or send me a DM, but I will talk to you. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. We'll see y'all next time. Bye, y'all. Lovely people. Appreciate you.